What's going on, guys? So you might have seen one of my videos before where we talk about wrist conditions. Yeah, it's kind of important. You know, most of us hold the golf club with our hands, hopefully all of you, and it's one of those things that you can overload the golf club with your wrist and you may not be able to do something with it. So today's video, we're going to help you figure out whether you should be using your hands more or less. And you should probably already know that because you're probably videoing yourself with that fancy thing that's in your pocket called a phone, which I'm pretty sure all of us have. And then you also should be videoing every swing when you're on the driving range, or almost every swing on the driving range, to check yourself, which I'm sure most of you don't. But fact of the matter is, today's conditions are talking about wrist conditions. And we're going to make sure you get the best strike to the ball that's the most consistent to deliver the face with the most accuracy that you can. So make sure you like and comment my video below so I know you're here, know that you like what you're seeing, and tell me what you want to see, tell me what you want to work on. I'll make something to help you get better today. Let's go to work. Man, I bet you want to hit one like that, right? Just kidding. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm only a coach. I don't play for a living. The goal here today, ladies and gentlemen, is to make you better with your hands, right? How they work, okay? So let's lay out some things that happen, right? So first things first, you got your left hand, you got your right hand, right? Your left hand and right hand both extend and flex, radial and ulnar deviation, and supinate and pronate, right? Big fancy doctor words. Who gives a crap? Doesn't matter. I know it. You don't need to know it. What you need to know is when your hand is here and it gets extended, it doesn't rotate down if you hold the two bones in your wrist, but it rotates up. If you flex it, it rotates down and it doesn't rotate up. So how does that affect the golf swing? Well, for one, if you get your left hand and it's neutral right now, right? Let's get the club face a little more square, I guess, right? And I extend it, and I just said I can't lay the club down with my wrist condition. That means I have to use my shoulder to pronate my shoulder to get that club face to lay down. Problem is that's a really open club face, and my shoulder's on fire. We don't like this. Conversely, I flex the golf club. I can now lay it down with my hand, and now I've shallowed it. My shoulder still doesn't hurt. My left hand's going to be in a more supinated position at impact. Again, big fancy words. And I can use this to my advantage. Now, I said earlier that you overload it, okay? What do I mean by that? Well, when we look at it from the face-on view, right, the golf club at left arm parallel should be about right above your hands. Some of you overload that thing and get the club head beyond your hands and into an extended or cupped state of your left wrist. The problem then becomes you rotate faster than you can unload it, or you stall your rotation and unload it and you've turned into a flipper, right? Neither are ideal. One, you're flipping it, losing loft, hitting it nowhere. And the other, you're spinning out of it and probably shanking it. Doesn't sound like fun options to me, right? Now, believe me, there are people that can get it extended at the top, can be cupped, overloaded at the top, can rotate and also deliver the golf club to the ball well. I've seen it. I'm just saying that's not a very common pattern or practice to make that happen. So what can we do? Well, we like flexed hands in the golf swing. That's what you see on YouTube all the dang time, right? So you have that flexed left wrist. Well, in that scenario, my thumb should be pointing away from me more and the club head would be more outside my hands, right? And now if I spin really fast, I have that shaftling look that everybody so desires. So you're saying, okay, coach, what you're telling me is I don't have to load it up really as much as I want to. I can load it less. Maybe. I will say this, those that have done this position tend to have hit it farther in their career, and people that tend to do this more tend to hit it straighter in their career. You got to kind of understand what you're going for. If you're going for more straight, you might not want to flex it so much, extend it so much. So you get to the top, it feels a little flexed, thumbs point away, club head's beyond the hands, and now all you got to do is rotate to the target. Seems like a pretty sweetheart deal to me, right? So you get set, you go to the top, you have it flex at the top, right? Return it with some rotation and you're good. Now, those are good for the guys that have already rotated out with the cupped wrist tend to leave the face wide open and heal it a lot, right? So what do we do for the guy that doesn't rotate well and has stalled his whole downswing in order to get the face to square up, right? Well, that person has to either learn how to rotate, right, which could be a long-term development kind of thing, or we get them to the top, right? They want to be cupped here, so we take a little bit out, not all of it out. So we take a little bit out, right? And so they still got to learn how to get to the ball with some rotation. Either way is probably for the best interest in their game. So what we do for them is, instead of lining up square, we go ahead and let them start with a little bit more open stance. That's going to get them cheated to a more rotated downswing, right? It's going to look like a pitch shot kind of setup. But if you're not good at rotating, that's a heck of a way to get clear by the time you need to get back to the golf ball. So you start with a little bit more of an open stance. You have that position, and you've kind of cheated yourself out past the ball in hopes of getting some more shaft lean, right? So our wrist conditions in this scenario, right? We know that when the wrist is cupped or extended, it's going to want to steepen, right? And it can't lay down the right way. It has to come out of our shoulders in that scenario. And all I really want to do now is steepen it, and I either rotate with that flat left arm and I get it into Shanksville, or I stall out my rotation, steepen the golf club, and turn it into a flip at the bottom. Then to the other side, we know that the cleft hand can be flexed, can get the golf club to lay down a lot more naturally, increases our left arm flexion, gets back to the golf ball with a little bit more consistent impact point. So at the end of the day, you don't have to load up your hands like you see in Golf Digest, where you get like, oh, max it out, right? Or even to here, you can play with it a little less than that. And if you actually look at some videos of Dustin Johnson, you'll see that the club is actually not at a 90-degree angle coming down like a Sergio Garcia. So if that tickles your brainstem, make sure you like and comment below. Tell me what you think. If you have any questions about this video, I'll be sure to answer it. Until next time, gang, we'll see you out in the golf course.